Hello and welcome to Storytime. This time we're going to talk about Iceland. Probably like the fourth or fifth video that I'm doing on Iceland. The other ones had different things. They had tours that we went on or things that we did and just kind of showing you the land and all that. But in this story time, I'm going to tell you a story. And it all starts at the Blue Lagoon. If you look at the map here, it'll kind of show you. Outside Reykjavik, there's a spa. There's like natural hot springs, and the water has silicone in it, and so it turns it kind of blue. So it's these beautiful big blue pools that people go in and soak, and they have medicinal powers and things like that. So we were at the Blue Lagoon near the end of our trip in Iceland, and we came home, and then 3 days later, the volcano erupted. And there was lava flowing all over the place, and it's right in that area. It's outside Reykjavik. It's right in that area. They had to shut down the Blue Lagoon spa for a time, and we that was one of the things that I wanted to see in Iceland was maybe the volcano or lava or something, but it wasn't erupting at that time. We missed it by 3 days. We got home on a Sunday, and on Wednesday it was erupting and going crazy. And so I thought, well, this is kind of a cool thing. I'll tell you a story about that area and the Blue Lagoon right now. This story concerns elves and trolls. And you're like, what? Elves and trolls? Yeah. Iceland, a lot of people in Iceland, a large portion of the population, believes that there are elves and trolls, and those are real. And so they have a lot of superstitions about them, which we don't really have here, in the West. But I always think it's interesting when you travel, you find out these stories. So our story starts at the Blue Lagoon location. Before it was the Blue Lagoon, and it was like a formal place, it was just a pit that water came up out of the ground, and the water was hot. And there was a construction worker, and the construction worker had, I think he had psoriasis. It wasn't eczema, but it was psoriasis. And he was he would go to work at this construction site, away from the Blue Lagoon somewhere else, but he would pass by it every day. He'd pass by the Blue Lagoon. And so one day he got curious. He got off work and he decided he was going to like stop in this pool. And at the time they kind of thought the pools were sort of evil, and you would die if you went in there. They would like stick one finger in there to see if it would disintegrate or something like that. They really didn't know what would happen. But this one worker, he decided he would go take a dip after work, and so he did. He went, and it was a nice hot water on a cold day and warmed him up, and he kind of started to do this on a regular basis. And some of the other construction workers, some of his friends, started doing it. And then he went to his regular doctor's appointment for his skin condition, and the doctor was like, "Oh my gosh, your skin looks great. What have you been doing?" And he was a little bit shy about it. He didn't really want to say. So he's like, "Oh, I guess it's just the medication or whatever you've been giving me." And the doctor said, "No, come on. What's going on here? What are you doing differently? This could be a cure for lots and lots of people." And so finally, the construction worker, bashfully, he said, "Well, I've been stopping at this pool, this devil's pool over there, and it's nice warm water, and it seems to be great for his skin." So the dermatologist, being a scientist and a curious guy, he went and he investigated these pools. And so he went in there, he tested the water, he had some other patients that were tested in there, and it really did it helped their eczema great, and their psoriasis. All these skin conditions just cleared up. So the doctor decided that he would buy all the land of the Blue Lagoon was for sale, and he decided that he was going to buy the whole thing and create this sort of resort spa, which he did. And to this day, he is the CEO of the Blue Lagoon Corporation, and a very rich guy who owns this area. But he started as a dermatologist, just trying to help people with their skin conditions. And even to this day, in Iceland, if you have a skin condition and you get a prescription from a doctor, you can go to the Blue Lagoon for free anytime you want. because it's considered a medical procedure. So that dermatologist became very rich. He uh, developed this site, and as time goes on, they wanted to develop it more and more. And that's where the story of the elves comes in. So they were trying to develop this site, build, I think, a restaurant or something like that, gift shop. And every time they got the machines going, you know, the cranes and the bulldozers and stuff to start construction, all of the equipment would break. And they couldn't figure out what was going on. For years, they didn't make any progress on this, and all the equipment just kept breaking down, things like that. And they thought maybe it's elves. So what they did is they hired an elf communication expert and had her come in to kind of find out if there was a problem with the elves. And sure enough, she went and sat down right in the middle of the area where they were working and started communicating with the elves, and found out that that area where they're building was the elves' main city. It was like the central city that they live in. And so that's why the the equipment was breaking down, because the elves were sabotaging it, because they didn't want their home city being being changed into a snack bar. So uh, the woman communicated with the elves and told them the whole plan of what they wanted to do, and the elves said, "Fine. What we'll do is we can move our home city to another location on the property, and then you guys can build what you want to build here. But you need to give us like a plan. We need to see the building blueprints and things of all the area, what it's going to be, where their area is, and it needs to be that way for at least 10 years from now, so they don't have to build their home city again." So they said, yes, that's fine. So what they did is they went and got together all of the building plans for the Blue Lagoon in the area, and they put them on a flash drive. And then the president of Iceland, in a very ceremonial event, took the flash drive, went to the center of where their town used to be, in the middle of the building site. There's a big rock, and he put the flash drive into the rock. And unfortunately, elves are very technically savvy, so they could read the building plans, and they did that. They found out that they were happy with the location. They all agreed, and they communicated back through the woman that that'd be fine. And then construction continued, and it was fine. None of the equipment broke after that. So that's kind of how seriously they take the elves in Iceland. And then there's also the big, ugly, scary trolls, which you can see here, which are more like barbaric and live under bridges and just cause general havoc, versus elves, which are kind of tricky and smart little things. So anyway, that's part of their tradition and their stories. And if you don't believe anything that I said, just go ahead and Google it. I didn't make this story up. That's a story of the elves in Iceland and the Blue Lagoon. And I thought that was a pretty fun story. So we'll see you next time on Story Time. And I think that wraps it up for our Iceland videos. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.